What do you see the influence of the millennials being? And if you could even think in the context of, they're still pretty young. Can you attribute, can you differentiate between what's a different generation and what's just youth?
Yes, we can. It's called the Pew Research Center. They've done a fascinating piece of research where they looked at today's generation compared to the same age cohort 20 years ago. And so you can judge and you can control for age effect because Pew does, they don't do what Peter and I do for the NBC Wall Street Journal. They do this kind of broad research, and there are differences. But some of the differences we're already seeing, which is by 75% they believe in gay marriage, like this new transgender issue. They have radically different views than people in Peter and I's age bracket. And these are non-issues to them. They can't even imagine why there's a dispute. So for example, the gap it's creating in our politics by generation is that this notion towards equality and tolerance is, today we're having these fights. The fights are essentially going to be over very soon because this generation's views will be stamped in terms of what's acceptable. And I think that there are some differences as regards immigration and racial tolerance. Immigration is a huge difference. And so as always in this country, there are things that will change as they get older and they have their kids and all that. But by the way, they're having kids earlier. And but these kind of, this sort of shared commonality, the way they work in teams, and these sort of beliefs, I think, will be an enduring part. And then lastly, there's a huge amount of academic research that goes back to the 30s and 40s that say if you vote for the same party twice in your 20s for president, that has an enduring effect all through your life. So we could be watching not just 2 elections, but perhaps 3, where an entire generation votes for 2 or 3 times in a row for the Democrats. And at least for every academic piece of research that's been done back to the 1930s, that's a set point through the rest of their life.
And I'll pick up on that because what's so fascinating as we watch this election, the one group that has stood out that is new and different has been the under 35 or the millennials. And essentially that group has differentiated themselves not only in terms of social issues, but in economic issues and in sort of political ideology. And I think one of the major challenges for the Republican Party in this election is what is their bridge to this group? And up to now, I haven't seen it. I don't know that they have found a way to be able to talk to them or reach them. And I don't know what the margin will be, but in the end of the day, I would suspect the Democrats will probably run somewhere between 15 and 20 points ahead with that group.
You don't think they're in play? I mean, certainly Mr. Trump thinks that with his sort of his approach that he may be able to make inroads. And correct me if I'm wrong, we certainly see some, and partly because of the social attitudes I think you're talking about, Bill, some skepticism of Hillary from young women or others that might not have been thought to be there, but you don't think that this generation's in play right now?
Well, I think there are 2 things. Donald Trump is playing across the spectrum in very different ways, but in the end of the day, he looks a lot more like Mitt Romney's coalition than it looks like a brand new coalition. Nonetheless, the bigger question is, where are these people going to be not only on the presidential level, but on the Senate, congressional, state legislature races? They seem to be looking much more Democratic in all respects. I mean, the presidential race may surprise us in some respects because there will be different patterns based on the unusual characteristics related to Donald Trump, but I don't know that it translates down the ticket.